Hello, welcome back to the channel. I hope you've been finding something good to read out there. I definitely found something good to read recently. About 2 weeks ago, I had to go out of town, and I was looking online for something to do in the town where I was going to be, and I probably was looking for bookstores. I mean, if you've seen my videos, you know that I read. And I came across I'm Afraid You've Got Dragons by Peter S. Beagle. I did not realize that he had written another book, and so I was pleasantly surprised, if you will. And I made an effort to figure out which bookstore had a copy, and went down there and bought it. And I read it, and I very much enjoyed it. If you are unfamiliar with Peter S. Beagle wrote The Last Unicorn. It is one of the seminal books in fantasy literature, in my opinion. It was turned into a cartoon by Rankin Bass. I was introduced to The Last Unicorn through the cartoon. I loved the cartoon when I was growing up. I still like it. I still find it enjoyable. The book, highly enjoyable. Very, very good. But anyway, when I found out that he had written and released another book, I wanted to read it. I mean, it's got a really, really funny title. I'm Afraid You've Got Dragons. Yeah. Anyway, the book is about several people living in a kingdom called Belle Montagne. And I know I'm saying that right, for one, but it means beautiful mountains in Italian. Anyway, Belle Montagne, I'm probably overpronouncing it. Yeah. Anyway, the main character is Gaius Aurelius Constantine Heliogabalus Thrax. He is very, very pretentiously named. He is very self-effacing. He is a very humble individual. He is actually a dragon exterminator, and he would much rather people call him Robert. So, he lives in this kingdom, and he runs around, and when people have dragons, and the dragons in this book range in size, there's small dragons up to large ones. He knows how to handle them, how to get rid of them, and he goes in and clears out the dragons. Now, in the kingdom, there's a princess, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful princess, Princess Cerise. She is trying to find a suitor, trying to find her prince. And so she has all the princes and royalty from around the kingdom coming and vying for her affection. And one day she happens to meet Prince Reginald. Prince Reginald is the prince from a neighboring country. And his father is a warmonger and wants his son to be like him. It's kind of interesting. The main characters in this book very much are presented as typical of their species, kind of thing, where we've got the prince who is clean cut, granite jawed, big and burly and handsome. The princess is dainty and beautiful and typical of the princess trope. But each of them, even especially Robert, who's the dragon exterminator, would much rather be something else, or would work to improve their station. The princess is trying to learn unprincessly things. Not that she's trying to not be a princess. No, it's not that. This princess is much more along the lines of the princess from the Enchanted Forest Chronicles, where she just doesn't want to fit in and be slotted into that princess mold. She wants to grow. She wants to be more than just princess. And so she has taken it upon herself to learn things that a princess traditionally wouldn't learn. so that she is more than herself. Prince Reginald doesn't really want to be a hero. He's built like a hero. His dad wants him to be a hero, wants him to be that, swashbuckling, daring do, kind of thing. And he wants him to be molded more in his image. And to that end, he has a valet with him that is there to oversee his actions and make sure that he's learning proper princely duties and, fulfilling that role. Whereas he'd much rather, do poetry and things like that. And then, of course, there's Robert, the dragon exterminator, who he has his friends and everything. But dragons are also his friends. He gets them. He understands them. He doesn't really like killing them. But it's kind of an inherited, I should say it's kind of an inherited position. It is an inherited position. His dad was a dragon exterminator and his dad before him and so on. And so now he's inherited the business now that his dad has passed away. And he has to provide for his brothers and sisters, his younger brothers and sisters, until, they can find their own way in the world. And so he soldiers on. He does his job, even though he doesn't really like it. Now, there are a couple of things about Robert that you kind of pick up on that he might be a little bit special. He might be a little bit different. There's a scene in the book where he captures a new dragon, and he at least deems that this dragon is special enough that, at least to him, that he's not going to kill it. He captures it alive and brings it home, and not only that, but in the first opening scenes where you meet Robert, the dragons are living with him. He has several small dragons that live in his home, and they do what he tells them to do. And when this new dragon comes in, one of his sisters says, I want to name it. You haven't let me name any of the dragons. And he tells the sister, he says, no, I don't name the dragons. They tell me their name. And it doesn't really go into how he knows what their names should be or what they like to be called or anything. It's kind of implied that it just kind of comes to him somehow. So there's kind of that thing where Robert might be a little bit special here. But it's at times funny. And that it's funny because of that. I'm in this situation because life or whatever has put me in this situation, but I'd like to be something else. In fact, Robert goes at one point to Prince Reginald's valet and says, I don't want to be a dragon exterminator anymore. And this leads to one of the conflicts in the book, because Robert sits down with this valet and says, I want you to teach me to be a valet so I can be a valet to a rich, affluent person, so I can get all this dragon exterminating business behind me. And they concoct a plan to find a certain type of dragon and train the prince to kill the dragon so that the prince's father will be happy with him. He went out, he found this type of dragon that was pretty big, pretty dangerous, and he killed it. And so this leads to one of the conflicts, not in and among the main characters or anything, but it sets up the bad guy, the villain of the piece. But anyway, laying that aside, I really enjoyed it. I think when I picked it up, went back to our hotel room, I think I read about half the book the first night that we were there at the hotel. Quite a good read. It read, like I said, it read really well. It was something that I immediately grabbed onto and just dove right in. So if you like Peter S. Beagle, if you like what the fantasy books that he's read, that he has written. Excuse me, misspoke there. I'm Afraid You've Got Dragons is a good example of a book by Peter S. Beagle. It's I very much enjoyed it. Not quite, I think, on par with kind of the iconic nature of The Last Unicorn, but still a very enjoyable read. Highly recommend it. If you've read it, or if you're interested in reading it, comment down below. I would love to hear what your take on the book was, and what your take on other books written by this same author, by Peter S. Beagle. I will try to remember what that other book was, and maybe review it as well. Anyway, that's it for today. And as I always say, like, share, subscribe, all that other stuff, but above all, enjoy what you're reading.